Welcome back. It's really great to see you. 10 days in now, double figures. I'm really enjoying my chocolate each morning from my calendar. Do you have a chocolate calendar or one that tells a story? One of the best things for me about Christmas is all the lovely food. I love my mum's Christmas dinner and I'm a little sad that I'm missing it this year. But I'm sure we'll make it up for it with our very own meal. Today's story sees the little bear hungry and looking for food, so let's go and see what he does about it. This is called the pear tree. On December the 10th, Benjamin opened the next door and saw a pear tree. The little bear saw a pear tree at the edge of the path. I'd like to rest in its shade for a bit, he thought, and leaned up against its gnarled trunk. When the little bear woke from a light slumber, he looked up and saw that the old tree was full of ripe fruit. "I am so hungry," the little bear said with a sigh. "If only I could eat some of your fruit." As if the old pear tree had understood his words, it tilted its crown right down to the ground. The little bear picked many luscious pears which tasted like sweetest honey. When he was full, the pear tree raised its crown with a rustle. "Thank you," cried the little bear, and refreshed, continued on his way. "I wish I had a pear to eat right now," said Benjamin, licking his lips. Mother Bear laughed. "We must always be grateful for God's bounty," she said. So let's go through the windows and see what's on the other side. Well, we've made it into double figures, 10 days now, 10 days, only 2 weeks left to go till Christmas Day. It's wonderful to see you back. We're going to have another look in our bag and see what the character is today. I say bag, it's more of a stocking. It's right down at the bottom. It's an old lady with a dog. Sometimes we can judge people on their age. We can say that they're very young, too young, or that they're too old. But I love the fact that actually lots of old people within our community really love Jesus, regardless of their age, and that they've grown up knowing the stories that Jesus tells. The old people in our communities are a real benefit to us because we can learn so much from them, from the stories that they tell and the life experience that they've lived. So let's put this lady into the nativity now because I'm sure she's got wonderful stories to tell to Jesus, and she's got a lovely dog as well. So let's pop her in. Number 10. Remember, to find out about people's lives and the experiences that they have and to see how different they are, but we can learn from that. So if there's an older person in your life, you might not be able to see them because of this time of COVID, but maybe your parents or your carers can maybe give them a ring, or maybe you can have a chat to a grandparent about what they were like, what Christmas was like when they were little, and find out a little bit more about them. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. Do you know, I love my family, and I'm very lucky to have a wonderful son and daughter who bring me so much love and joy. It's hard to describe how I would do anything for them. I can't imagine what it must be like to be really lonely, to not have anyone at all to talk to or to think of when I am sad. The story I want to tell you today is quite a sad one. I think it's an old Russian folk tale about a couple who haven't got a son or a daughter, and how one winter things changed for them, at least for a short while. I hope you enjoy. This is called The Snow Girl, Snegurka. There was once an old woman and an old man who were called Maya and Ivan, and they lived in a little farmhouse on the edge of the forest. Their lives were peaceful and happy, even though their greatest wish had remained unfulfilled. They had never had a child. One winter's day, thick white flakes fell from the sky. The village children enjoyed themselves so much, jumping around in the snow and throwing snowballs at one another, that Maya and Ivan also got into the mood and said, "Let's build a snowman in the garden." That's what people do in Russia. The two of them put on their coats and boots and set to work at once. They rolled the snow into a ball for the head, made 2 more balls for the chest and stomach, and 4 snow cylinders for the arms and legs. She's a bit small for a snow woman," mumbled Ivan. Maya simply laughed and said, "In that case, we'll make her a snow girl, a sweet little Snegurka." They carefully shaped their eyes, cheeks and nose. But when Ivan formed the snow girl's mouth, a breath of warm air suddenly wafted onto his face. The shock made him jump backwards. The next moment, the snow girl opened her ice blue eyes. Then all the snow fell off her like a shell peeling off an egg, and out stepped the prettiest little girl the old couple had ever seen. They stared in disbelief at this miracle, and only pulled themselves together when the shivering little girl flung her white arms around them. "Our Snegurka is freezing," cried Ivan. "We must take her into the warm." He quickly carried the child into the house. Maya followed them, her heart beating fast, and hastened to find some warm clothes in which to dress the snow girl. But the child didn't want the warm clothes and only allowed them to dress her in a cotton smock. Then she toddled through the house barefoot and wide-eyed, pointing at this and that without saying a word. Maya and Ivan followed her everywhere and told her what things were called, so that by evening she could already talk. Weeks and months went by, filled with surprises and delights. The snow girl grew very quickly, and she was so good and so pretty, so sensible and so clever. Such children don't exist in real life, but only in fairy tales. Maya and Ivan were overjoyed and never tired of doing nice things for their little girl. Maya sewed and knitted bright clothes for her, and Ivan carved toys. The village children were also enchanted by Snegurka. Sometimes they even fought over whose turn it was to play with her, but she would turn her ice blue eyes on them, smile, gently shake her head. Then they couldn't go on quarrelling and quickly became friends again. Snegurka's best friend was Shushka, the dog. In the past, Shushka had watched over the farm, growling angrily at strangers and nipping them in the calf, but now she followed the snow girl wherever she went. From the very first day they ate and played together and slept in Snegurka's ice-cold bedroom, where the window was always open because that was how she wanted it. Maya and Ivan were pleased that the dog was there because they knew that nothing bad could happen to Snegurka as long as Shushka was by her side. Then spring arrived. For a long time the weather made no difference to the family in the little farmhouse because the house stood in the shadows of the tall trees. But when the birds started twittering non-stop and the flowers burst into full bloom, Snegurka became quieter and quieter as the days went by. "Why don't you go out into the sunshine, little golden girl?" said Maya. "It's lovely out there." But for the first time, the snow girl refused to obey and instead went on playing with Shushka in the darkness of the shed. One day, the village children came by, dressed in their Sunday best with flowers in their hair, and they called out, "Today we're celebrating the spring festival, and Snegurka should come too. Come with us, snow girl, please come with us." And so Snegurka agreed to go. She gave Maya and Ivan a long hug, and then accompanied the children to the village green. There was music, and dancing and lots of tasty things to eat. Toward evening they lit the spring fire. "Come on, Snegotcha, we're going to jump over the fire," cried the children. "It'll bring us luck." Happily they all joined hands, ran towards the fire and jumped. But when they landed safely on the other side, the Snow Girl was nowhere to be seen. Warmed by the dancing and the games, and then touched by the spring fire, Snegotcha had melted, and like a gentle breeze of air had floated up into the sky. And there she is still, waiting in a cloud until she can float down to earth again with her snowflake sisters. Because if someone makes a wish with all their heart at just the right moment, Snegotcha may once again turn into a snow girl. I really hope that Maya and Ivan were all right after their snow girl disappeared. It makes me really sad to think that they might never have seen her again, or that they might have been upset. It also makes me think about how important it is that we hold on to those that we love, that we let them know how special they are to us. Maybe you could tell your mum, dad, or whoever looks after you now just how much you love them, so that they know how special you think they are. Anyway, sleep tight, and I'll be back with another story tomorrow.